This video contains significant spoilers for Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 4 Arena, and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Hey there everybody, welcome to my contradictory video. As many of you are already aware, MatPat over at Game Theory just delved into the world of Persona 4 for the first time, and he tackled one of the biggest mysteries that game lays out. And he got it wrong. Now, I'm not here to make fun of him, I'm not here to hate on him, I'm not here to make him feel bad. But as one of YouTube's self-proclaimed Persona fans, and someone who's played just about all of the games in the series, I just wouldn't be doing my part if I didn't set the record straight. So, buckle up guys, someone is wrong on the internet, and we're going to have to set this right. MatPat's theory breaks down to two basic questions. Question number one is, why does Yu Narukami not ever face his own shadow in a game where everyone else does? And question number two is, what is the deal with Teddie? He is eventually revealed to be a self-aware shadow, but yet we never find his human. These are pretty big questions, and MatPat's theory tries to tie the two questions together, and I'm going to have to attack both sides of it in order to break them back apart. So, first off, Yu Narukami. Why does he never face his own shadow? Persona 4 at its core is a game about encountering your shadow self, doing battle with a psychological manifestation of all of the secret desires and aspirations that you're ashamed of, and ultimately coming to accept them as part of your personality, turning them from an antagonistic shadow into a protective persona. Every character in the game goes through this, except the main character. So, I totally get it. MatPat is seeing this and he's seeing, why is there this massive difference? Why is this one character treated so much different than all of the other characters in the piece? It's just going to be sending his theorist brain into a tizzy trying to figure out. And the game never addresses this. Or does it? On April 18th, the game actually does directly discuss the fact that you didn't have to go through a shadow battle and everyone else, at least everyone else to that point, has. It specifically mentions that the difference might be because Yu has nothing to hide and is pretty open about his past and his personality. He doesn't have anything necessarily to hide from people. Specifically, the game is saying that since Yu doesn't reject any part of his personality, he naturally wouldn't manifest a shadow self. He wouldn't have anything that he would have to come to terms with in order to get to his persona. He would just kind of start with a persona. But does that really make sense? Is that possible? I mean, you as a high school kid, is there any possibility that there could be a high school student that is so mature and thoroughly grounded that he doesn't have enough self-doubt for shadows to latch onto at all? Well, actually, yeah, it's entirely possible. The game's prequel, Persona 3, directly addresses this question. On April 18th... Well, that's interesting. Both games actually address key points to MatPat's theory on the exact same day. Man, what's the deal, April 18th? Why gotta ruin MatPat's theories? Anyway, on April 18th, Shinji Akutsuki states, although rare, there are those who can function during the dark hour. Some may even awaken to a power that enables them to fight the shadows. That's Persona, the power you used the other night. So bam! Case closed. There is overwhelmingly solid evidence that Yu Narukami can very, very easily not have a shadow to face. But that's only half the puzzle. We've still got Teddie. Poor Teddie, all alone. No human that created him. This theory's only half answered, guys, and it's time to address the bear in the room. So, proving that Teddie cannot be Yu's shadow is actually pretty darn easy. All you've really got to do is look at everyone else in the game. Yukiko represents the Priestess Arcana, and when you encounter her, Yukiko's shadow is the Inverted Priestess. Kanji represents the Emperor Arcana, and, you guessed it, his shadow represents the Inverted Emperor. Every single time, the game designers of the Persona series pay incredibly close attention to make sure that the characterization of the individual matches the arcana that they represent. And when a shadow exists, the shadow is always going to be the inverse. It's going to be what that tarot card represents when it is reversed. So for Teddie, who represents the Star Arcana, he has a certain amount of characteristics that go with him, and because he is the star and he is all of the elements which his human, whoever that happens to be, is going to repress and deny, that means his human should be the inverted star. You, however, that being you, Narukami, of course, represents the full arcana, not the star at all. Beyond even that, though, let's just take a moment and look at what the inverted star actually represents, because this should be a description of the human we're looking for. When the star is reversed, it suggests your spiritual mission is distorted. Instead of hope, you are feeling despair or discouragement. Instead of being filled with positive possibility, you find yourself dwelling on negative issues. Does that sound anything at all like you, Narukami? This is a character that goes around town, helps whoever he can find, is constantly leading people to their idealized self and teaching them who they really are and what really matters to them. You is nothing like the inverted star. So, just no. We've got to find the inverted star, though. I am convinced that Teddie should have a human somewhere. It's just not you, Narukami. But the game did make a point by saying Teddie started as a shadow and gained self-awareness. So all we've really got to do is search through the game and find a star arcana that is inverted. Searching through Persona 4, though, doesn't actually yield all that much. So I totally understand MatPat's frustration. Just about every significant human we run into has a shadow that we see, which makes it really freaking hard for Teddie to be the shadow since we actually see the shadow. Beyond that, just frankly, the game is light and bouncy. It's a very upbeat tone. Its overall theme is yellow. It's a very vibrant game. Persona 3, though. Yeah. That's a game about a general population gradually succumbing to an apathy so complete the only solution is death itself. Persona 3 has so much despair, even Danganronpa games walk away just shaking their heads. If we're going to be looking for an inverted star, Persona 3 seems a great place to try and find it. Unfortunately, our efforts are stymied pretty quick because although we do have some human enemies that appear in the game, and although you could make an argument that the description of the inverted star should apply to them, we unfortunately get into battle and can scan them, and we find out that none of the humans we fight are actually of the Star Arcana. The same problem that MatPat ran into when he tried to force you into being Teddie's human. But notice I said none of the humans we fight. There is one human antagonist that we never actually get into a battle with, and therefore we never actually get a chance to scan. Shinji Ikutsuki, our previously acknowledged speaker from April 18th, the day that just won't leave this theory alone. Shinji Ikutsuki used to be a scientist. He was actually involved in research on shadows back about 20 years before the game actually began. Initially, he was trying to harness their power, but eventually he fell under the sway of a group known as the Cult of Nyx. And he is now one of the primary people trying to bring about the physical manifestation of death itself and the end to all humanity. Think about that. A former scientist who specialized in studying shadows that is now obsessed with bringing about the physical embodiment of death in order to free the world from an overwhelming apathy, a hopelessness so complete he thinks death is the only solution. When the star is reversed, it suggests your spiritual mission is distorted. Instead of hope, you feel despair or discouragement. Instead of being filled with positive possibility, you find yourself dwelling on negative issues. Shinji Ikutsuki is a fantastic fit for that. I can't really think of a better one, to be honest, at least not of Persona characters. He is amazingly close to what the distorted star should be. So there we've got it. We've got a character who is overwhelmingly matches the tarot that Teddie would require his human to be, who features prominently in the direct prequel to the game Teddie appears in, and who has a history of experimentation on shadows and regular contact with shadows themselves. It seems like we've got a great candidate, but we can do even better. Turns out, in Persona 4 Arena, and Ultimax, the two spin-offs to Persona 4, we find out that there are items known as Plumes of Dusk that are used in order to grant artificial life and awareness to machines in order to let those machines manifest a persona. Additionally, we find out that Shinji Ikutsuki personally handled at least one Plume of Dusk because he had a test subject known as Sho Minazuki that he implanted the Plume of Dusk in order to try and force a persona to take root there. So, at the end of the day, we have Teddie, a Star Arcana shadow that somehow or other, against all odds, develops self-awareness and is actually able to manifest a persona, despite the fact that shadows and persona really should be mutually exclusive. On the other side, we have an inverted star scientist who specializes in shadow research and implanting personas into things like robots, which really shouldn't have the self-awareness in order to be able to do that. So at the end of the day, is it definitive? Can we absolutely say that Shinji Ikutsuki is Teddie's human? Shinji Ikutsuki is the reason Teddie was able to become the character we all know and love? No. It's a very, very well-researched possibility, but it is still just a theory. A significantly more plausible theory. Thanks for watching.